Testing. Okay.
Good morning, Unity of Fort Myers. How are we this morning? I see that nobody's scary today. Are we all avoiding being scary today? Yeah, Halloween. Do you believe October is over and we're about to head into the holidays? Christmas is on the way. If there was any doubt, just look in the stores, right? All right. Let's open this morning with a moment of prayer, shall we? Spirit, we are so grateful for your one presence and one power that is in our lives. We're so grateful to have this opportunity to come together as the people of Unity Church of Fort Myers. All those who are here with us today physically in the chapel, and those who are online on YouTube and Facebook and who will be joining us later. We're just so grateful for this community, the opportunity to come together with open hearts and open minds as we move forward in this celebration this morning. And so we just ask your continued loving presence around us, supporting us and sustaining us as we move forward. And so it is. All right, thank you. And once again, welcome to those of you who are online. We're so glad that we have streaming available. And for those of you who like to join us that way, we're just very, very grateful to have you all a part of our community. It is a community, however we come together, right? And if anything, we've learned that in the last year for sure. So please turn your phones off or in airplane mode so that they don't go off during the service just for out of respect. And then we would like to welcome anyone who's here for the first time. Do we have any visitors today? Anybody? All right. We've got a lot of folks coming back, I know. So welcome back everybody who's been away. And we're glad you're back here with us. So I'm going to welcome Olga, our platform assistant this morning.
Please bear with me. It's my first time back for a while, so everything is confusing, but I'll hold my place in divine order. Prayer box affirmation. I invite you to join me in saying the oneness affirmation. Am I correct, Sam? Please hold me together here.
Oh, you need to do the announcement first.
The announcement. Oh boy. Could you help me out here?
There we are. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Okay. Reverend Crystal, Wednesday afternoon, meditation return on November the 3rd. Coming. Agape is Saturday, November 6th at 9 a.m. till noon. Lots to do. Beginning on Sunday, November 7th, limited coffee and snacks will be available in the chapel 9. Membership renewal forms are in the foyer. New members ceremony will be Sunday, November the 7th. Don't miss the Christmas pageant, Friday, December 17 at 7 p.m. Thanksgiving gathering at 1, dinner provided. At 1 p.m., dinner provided. Eating outside, bring your table settings. Please sign up if you plan to attend Christmas Eve service, 5 p.m. in the sanctuary. Yoga crystal bowl classes will be held the second Sunday of November 8th and December 9:30, multi-levels, 11 chairs, sign up in the lobby. I'm sorry. That's it. And that ends our announcement for today. I invite you to stand and join me in saying the oneness affirmation. There is only one present and one power in the universe and in my life, God the good, omnipotent.
Good morning. When the centurion came to Jesus, he said, "One of my employees is very ill. If you would only speak the word, he would be made whole. You don't have to come." And Jesus said, "I haven't seen such great faith." So we know in Unity, our faith makes us whole. And join me now as we have our prayer for all of those who have placed requests in the prayer box today. And I want to invite you to do one more thing before we have our prayer. I have found this to be very powerful, and I feel that probably many of you have used it many times. The Ho'oponopono. It's 4 lines, and I'm going to invite you to say it silently after I say it aloud. Put your name at the front of this prayer. I love you. I'm sorry. Forgive me. I'm grateful. Thank you, sweet Spirit, for this beautiful day, for your wonderful presence within us and around us. In faith, we hold the highest vision for each request that is in this box today, and those who are sending in their request by way of chat. God knows the need. And we affirm divine order. We affirm peace, wholeness, oneness, connections, faith, trust, knowing that with God all things are possible. And in the name of the Christ, we say, it is done. Amen. And now, our prayer box affirmation together. All is well, for it is on earth as it is in the kingdom of heaven.
And now I shall share a reading with you taken from Matthew 7:7. Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the doors will be opened to you. For everyone who asks, received, and the one who seeks, find, and the one who knocks, the door is open. Luke 6:37. Do not judge, and you will not be judged. Do not condemn, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, will be poured into your lap. For with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. And I would like to share an affirmation with you. Please go within yourself and know that this is for you. There is within you which is greater than you. It was never born. It always was. It is the center of your being. It has no eyes, yet it sees. No ears, yet it hears. It needs no introduction because it always presents itself. It cannot be suppressed because when it speaks, you speak, for it is that which speak as you. It is all that you hope for, the evidence of the thing itself, waiting to spring forth into perfect activity in your life. It does not have to force itself upon you. It simply and lovingly impress you to be, move, do, and to have. Each day, you are enveloped in the sweet consciousness of faith and meditation and contemplation. What you believe, you become. You give no power to anything outside of your self-awareness of that God within. The power of this faith action lies in what you accept. And for you right now, right here and now, center your faith in the absolute power of good. Your faith is strong. Accept God as your total possibility, and God will act upon what you believe. Give thanks. Thank you, Father, for strong faith. You now move accordingly in the right direction, reaping that which you have sown in prayer action. Your faith reflects that which is lovely. And I give thanks because of it. God bless.
My fears away. Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. Oh, when Jesus was. When Spirit was. When Jesus was. He washed my fears away. Oh, happy day. He taught me how. Oh, he taught me how to walk and pray. And he taught me how to live rejoicing every day. Good God. Oh, yeah. Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. Ooh,
If you're not happy now, you're not going to be happy. Okay? So I hope you forgive my Baptist roots showing there, but some of that older traditional theology in that song, but it's one of my favorite ones. And there's a lot of good things in there about being happy, of course. All right. So the sermon today is about, are we afraid to ask? Usually, afraid is not a word that we would want to use in unity. We don't use that word because we're not afraid. We're positive people, and we know how to be positive, and we have a lot of denials, and we live in affirmations. And so afraid is not a word that is really in our vocabulary. So again, forgive my Baptist roots for showing. But I thought it was a good question. It's kind of been up for me. And part of it started with me in the prosperity class that I just was able to be involved in with Crystal. We just finished a Prosperity Plus class. And it was interesting for both Crystal and I. We've talked a little bit about it. I don't think I'm revealing any confidences by saying it was a different way of teaching this time, even though we've both been through the program many times, and we'll probably bring it up again because it's such a good class. But this time we were doing the teaching here in this congregation, which, as we know, the demographics are an older, more wise, elder population, right? And so when you're talking about prosperities and goals and dream setting, it can be interesting with this crowd. And I know I have some of that myself because like now, my birthday's coming up, Christmas is coming up, and so you get the question, what do you want? What do you want for your birthday? What do you want for Christmas, right? And for me, and I know like for my folks, it was challenging before they passed, we don't really need anything. We got everything we need, right? And if we need anything, we just go get it, right? And actually, it was kind of one of my favorite funny things running between my mom and my stepdad. He was a salesman, traveling salesman. So he liked to travel and he liked to shop. And so part of what they would do for recreation is go shop. And of course, when you go shop, there are bargains, right? And you got to get those bargains because you're out of the store and it's such a good deal. But she had to set a policy with him. And the policy was, you're more than welcome to buy that and bring it home, but what are you going to take out of the house so that will fit in the house, right? So we're at a little different place, a lot of us in our lives, even if we're not the elders part of this church, but we've lived pretty good lives, and it's pretty simple, and we do have pretty much what we need, right? And we live in this unity consciousness of prosperity, and that we get what we want, and we can have what we want. But it has occurred to me that why are we satisfied? To sort of sit on our laurels and be comfortable. Now, we do deserve some comfort in our golden years. That's part of why we work so hard to get here, right? Is to be comfortable. But the other part of that is that we are the co-creators of the universe. And that nothing comes into form without our participation. This is one of the foundations of unity, that there's divine mind, which is another word for us for God. And in that divine mind is the essence of all that is. And that is always present and always available to us. So if everything is always present, which is why we always say we have all the resources we need, then what brings them from that divine mind into manifestation? We do. And the way that it moves from that divine mind is in a divine idea. So when we catch an idea, an inspiration, a desire, an urge, that is from divine mind. And that is our part to catch, to capture, and to call forth that divine idea so that it then manifests. Okay? And so I've thought a lot about legacy lately. Legacy is not a word I've related to much in my life. Being a single guy with not a whole lot of family, I do have some very distant cousins, but they're all in other parts of the country and the world doing very, very, very well. And I doubt if I called them, I would have to explain. Oh, yeah, I'm your cousin, Sam, right? So when you have to explain, they're not expecting anything from you, and therefore there's no legacy there. But in working with Start a Business, one of the things it talks about is planning for is your legacy. What are you leaving behind, right? So I was like, well, I don't have to worry about that. I don't got any kids. I don't got any grandkids. I don't got anybody that's really counting on me except me and my sister. But she works and makes twice as much as I do, so she's good. She's not a preacher, right? So legacy I've never related to very much, but partly in this prosperity class and working with some of the older, with my friends in this class. I'm going to quit saying older, I really am. With my friends in this class who have already got most of what they want, and it was challenging for them to come up with goals, with big dreams, because that's part of Prosperity Plus is once you affirm and claim that divine idea and the big dream, then you get manifestation, and that's prosperity. And that's not just about money, as we know. Talk a lot about money, and we get some criticism in the New Thought community is out. Oh, it's all about prosperity, all about money. No, it's not. Prosperity is health, relationships, vocation, having work that fulfills you. And so I think that's where legacy comes in for us and for this church. So I'm asking us, are we afraid of our legacy, or have we even thought about what it is? And so I'm thinking about, as a spiritual community, what is our spiritual legacy? And therefore, what is this church's part? What is the divine idea that we want to bring forth and create here? Because this community has a unique opportunity in the world to really be the light and a legacy for the spiritual beliefs and possibilities that we hold in unity, which I think anyone here would say that the world needs. Doesn't it need it? Anybody here think the world doesn't need what we have to say and offer? No, nobody does? Okay. Have I lost you all totally? Okay. I'm not yelling at you, I'm really not. I'm inviting us, have we been afraid to ask for something bigger, for a bigger idea, for the spiritual legacy that this lighthouse, what a good place for a lighthouse, right? Fort Myers on the ocean. To be the beacon, the opportunity to create a spiritual legacy. When I think about legacies that I have looked at and admired and perhaps wanted to emulate, King Arthur and the legacy of Camelot comes to mind. Because King Arthur changed the way the world operated in his time, right? Used to be feudal, and so the kings and the lords and the dukes and the people that were in power just ran over everybody else and got exactly what they wanted when they wanted it with no thought for anybody else. But King Arthur changed that, and it was a kingdom that looked out for its people and made laws that were more equitable. And the Knights of the Round Table went out and protected those people that they used to run over and not pay any attention to and not care what happened to. And so what a legacy. And that legacy, whether it's a legend or not, excuse me, has prevailed for a long, long time. And if you say King Arthur, pretty much anybody knows at least a little bit about that story. And so I think there's perhaps some parallels and some similarities in the legacy of King Arthur that could be the legacy for us. And so I'm saying that even though I've had a very good life and that I'm looking forward to perhaps not working as hard as I have needed to in my life. So what does that look like then? And what is my opportunity as I move forward? And what is this church's opportunity as we move forward? And so I think that there's some divine ideas out there about the diversity that we could have. We talk a lot about diversity, but do we really practice it? And do we really know what that looks like and feels like? The regional meetings have been going on last week, and I needed to take some classes to keep my credentials. And one of the classes was diversity and equality. And it was interesting in thinking about diversity that we have quit speaking about equality. And talked about equanimity. Okay, there's a difference between getting people what they need to be able to come to the same level of participation than just acknowledging that they're there. Okay, and he had a neat little graphic because there was a fence and there were 3 people. There was a child and a child and a child. This child could just barely see over the fence. This child could just see the middle of the fence. And this child just could see the bottom of the fence. So they got, in equality, they got everybody a box. So they all stepped on the box. So the tallest kid, he could now see over the fence. The middle kid could just barely see the top of the fence. And the little child still couldn't see anything but the middle of the fence. So for equanimity, they needed something different. The child needed 3 boxes to see over the fence. The second child needed 2 boxes to see over the fence. And the first child only needed 1 box. So there's a part about understanding what people need in order to participate at the same level as other folks. Okay? And so one of our challenges as a congregation and as a church and in the world right now is how to become a hybrid congregation. Meaning that social media is not going to go away if there was ever any question about that, right? But it's become important in the life of the church because there are people who will only join us online. And so our classes need to be able to incorporate both people who want to be here, because there's still people who want to be here. Thank goodness. Thank you all for being here. And people who are going to be with us only online. And for those of you who live up north, when you go back north, you don't necessarily not have to participate because there's a way to still connect to us online. And it's great to just say hi. We're glad you're here because we are. But how do we incorporate them and make them feel welcome and a part of the community? And how do we do that with class? I don't know. I don't know the answer to any of these questions. But I know the world continues to change and that we need this congregation to grow so that we don't all just age out of here and there's not a population here anymore. And that young people are searching more than they ever have. More than they ever have. And the demographics, I think it's from 21 to 35. I think are some of the fastest growing attending folks at church for people who have decided to go to church finally. So what do we do in this congregation that speaks to them? And so I'm concluding the month on zeal with saying this is rather than the zeal of a zealot. When I think about zeal, I always think of Judas first, right? Everybody's the least favorite disciple. He had an important role to play, though. So thank goodness for him. And he was partly misunderstood because we just paint him as the bad guy. But he was profoundly passionate. He was part of the Israelites who wanted to be free from the Roman rule. They had been dominated and persecuted and overrun by the Romans for a long time. And so he was a part of the activists of his time who wanted the martyr, the Savior, to come and free them from that tyranny. And so he was passionate about that, so much so that, one of the most famous things he did was cut off the ear of the centurion, right? Because he was that kind of passionate about freedom from the tyranny. And so when Jesus wasn't that kind of a Savior, he didn't understand. And so he did the things that he did. So that's not the kind of zealot, we don't want to be zealots, but we do need our zeal. Because the other thing I always think of is Charles Fillmore's quote, I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm, right? So I've always liked that quote, but I don't really sizzle. I just haven't quite figured out. Do you know how to sizzle? And so I'm like, well, I really like that, but what the heck do I do about that? So I think to me, it's the quiet, deep, passionate understanding that there's more for me to do and to be the light and the safe harbor that accepts and understands and guides and leads people to their highest and best and fullest potential is what we're called to do. And so when you have that as a solid, kind of simmering, always present, motivating, moving thing, that is also zeal. And so I'm inviting us to come together and to continue to come together as a people, to continue to define and to expand how do we be that for our community and for this world. And so that's why I'm saying, are we afraid to ask? Because the other part of that is the times I know that I've been afraid to ask are because I have some idea what the answer is going to be. It's going to be a call, right, to do something that I've been super comfortable not doing. Like a call to ministry. Oh, no, not me. You don't want me being up there in front of those people. I related to Moses. No, you can't be calling me. The more you don't listen, the louder it gets. Thank goodness, right? So some of the reason I think we get afraid to ask is we know that that's going to institute a change for us. That if you ask, it doesn't do any good to ask if you're not going to listen. Right? Guys, we know about this, right? We have very selective listening sometimes. Yeah. Oh, I didn't hear that. Are you sure you told me that? I didn't know I was supposed to be ready to go do that. So, again, I'm asking the question, are you afraid? Why are you afraid? And are you willing to listen and to go there anyway? To go there anyway. So that's the big question. The other thing that occurred to me as I was preparing this talk is that I think, especially in the beginning when I was new in Unity, I liked the idea of going from petitioning prayer, which is the traditional way that prayer is taught in Christianity, to affirmative prayer, which is our prayer in Unity. Is everybody familiar with that and the difference? Anybody not understand that? I mean, that's a whole nother sermon, but I can speak a little bit to that. Okay, so I think I really like that idea. And, God is not Santa Claus waiting for your Christmas wish list, right? We know that. So it's not petitioning, oh, God, please save me. Oh, God, please help me. Oh, God, please pay my bill. right? Petitioning. But it is affirming that I have all I need to pay my bills. And God is my source, right? Which is where I started about this. It's all there until we affirm it and claim it and speak it, which is the affirmative prayer. It doesn't happen the same way. Okay? And so I think somewhere in the transition between that and knowing and really believing that God is my source and I have all that I need, that I tend to quit asking. So if we're not affirming and asking and catching those divine ideas and clarifying a little bit more about what it is that we're affirming and claiming and calling forth from divine mind, it doesn't happen the same way. And it takes it much longer to get here. So, it's important to open our minds and to open our hearts and to listen to what those divine ideas are for each of us and then for this congregation so that we can really move forward. And I think what better time than as we're headed into the holidays, which is traditionally the season of giving and receiving, right? So we can really go ahead and fall into the spirit of Christmas and go for the big dreams that we have for this church. Would we like an education ministry where there are children, 150, 200 children on this campus? Would we like a ministry to young folks, young married people who are getting started in their life and need the guidance and the support of a community like this that can make their transitions and their roads easier as they want to move fully into supporting their children and claiming the work that it is that God has for them to do? Do you remember what it was like in your 20s and 30s trying to make your way and get the things done and do all the stuff that you needed to do out there on your own without the understanding that we have in unity? That it's all possible and we can call it forth and there's a community that will support us to do that? Do we want to be more active? I know a lot of you are more active than I've ever been. I don't think it's my calling. But I do support it, like with Life, where we're, as a congregation, connected to the community group that wants to make life better for underserved populations. One of their main goals is affordable housing, right? What's the other theme this year? Mental health this year. So that, what an underserved community. Okay, so what kind of a light and a resource and a welcoming place can we be in our spiritual legacy in the community? I want a choir. Again, growing up Baptist, we had a choir. And a choir makes it a whole different environment, kind of like that song that we started with, right? When you can have a choir. Or we had a really great musical ensemble before pre-COVID. PC, pre-COVID, right? That we want to get back to a music program. I think it's going to hopefully evolve and maybe be a little different because we're in a different place. But don't we want a music ministry? And what would that look like? And so I'm just saying there's a lot of possibility out there. And I think this community is better. Better's not a word I want to use. Has the opportunity to be a gift in a whole nother way than we've been for a while. And so I'm inviting us again to look at, are you afraid to ask? And what will you do about it? One of my favorite things in my office at home is a painting. It's got a beautiful lit Christmas tree on this side of the painting. It's got a great Santa Claus in front of the tree, next to a candle, holding a nativity in his hand. And so for me, it's the spirit of Christmas. Christmas, Santa Claus, the nativity. And it's the total of how I believe I have the opportunity to be. Giving from a place of spirit with the understanding that Jesus was a new beginning of a rebirth for the Christ consciousness that we're all called to be. So I'm asking us to really look at what is the Christ consciousness for me, what is the Christ consciousness maybe for you and for this congregation. So y'all feel really quiet, and I hope you don't take this as I'm beating up on you. I really am asking us to think bigger and to ask for more and to go for the gold, so to speak. Because I think we can do it. I think we're poised to do it. And I think maybe the bookstore had a rebirth. It was gorgeous. I loved it. And it was small and it was crowded and it didn't have enough electrical outlets and it had a lot of things that, could have been better and different. Now we have an opportunity to do that and to change that whole building. So if we're being called and inspired to be a lighthouse and have 200 kids here on a weekend and to have programs that support mental health and support having affordable housing and that can have the community come in here and have AA meetings and have other kinds of meetings and that we can have guest speakers. Unity's kind of known for having guest speakers. Let's get this space humming and activating and calling all those kind of folks that we want to see influencing this community and this world in a way that we are being called to be a part of. So I hope you are with me in listening and asking not only for what we want, but for what we may be being called to call forth. Thank you. All right, we're going to get ready for meditation. So I'm going to ask you to take several deep breaths. I know that there was no intention of berating or challenging you for things that we have not done. But an invitation to move from our head space down into our heart space, which is the connection that we have to Source. And continue to take some deep breaths and just relax. And to know that all is well. And that all things are possible. And so as we rest into this place of divine mind, the source of all that is, omnipresent, omnificent, that conspires only for our good, I invite you to ponder some questions. What is our good? What might be my next opportunity to serve? What do I want this congregation to look like? How do we want to serve this community? All of those answers are in this space. And whatever needs, challenges, opportunities are in your life, know that there are answers. There are divine ideas waiting for you to call them forth. So I encourage us to know God's love, God's peace, and God's strength in this place. And to be in this loving, healing presence, open and receptive. Spirit, we are so grateful for your presence, for your unconditional love. And we know and remember that in you there's no illness. There is only peace, strength, love, power, wisdom, imagination. And so we hold these things to be true for us. And that we know as we dwell in this space and this understanding with this faith, that all truly is well. And we can continue to know and to serve and to move forward in spirit together. And so we thank you for this divine presence that continues to guide, support, and sustain us. And so it is.
Would you please join me as we sing the Lord's Prayer? Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything true. I am ready for my next thing to do. Oh, I know it's gonna be everything new. I'm through crying, I'm through waiting, I'm through hoping against all hope. I'm through longing for something gone that'll never return. Think I finally learned to bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything that the life I have is ever coming back. No more wishing on someone else's star that'll never be mine. I think it's time to bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything true. I am ready for my next thing to do. Oh, I know it's gonna be everything new. And I've survived many times before. Broken heart and slamming doors. I'll be alright. Yes, I will. Once more, just as I did back then. I'm gonna rise again. So bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything true. I am ready for my next thing to do. Oh, I know it's gonna be everything new. So bring it on. Everything different, everything true. I am ready for my next thing to do.
It's where we're going to bless the offering. Still being mindful of COVID restrictions, we don't pass the basket, so they're placed strategically at the doors. So on your way out, please add your contribution there, if you'd be so kind. There are several ways for you to donate. There's a text button. There's, you can text. There's a place on the website. And we do still have snail mail for some of us old fogies, and you can mail a check into the office. So we appreciate all of your support. We would not be here without it. There's a huge grounds here, facilities, and things that we are stewards of. So all of this contributes to us continuing to be able to do this work. So, Father, we are just so grateful for the people who are here, who give of their time, their talent, and their treasure. And we know that these baskets will be filled and that all of our needs are met. And so we are just so grateful for the givers and for the abundance that continues to flow in each of our lives and to this church. And so we bless these tithes and offerings to this work and to the ministry that we are called to do. And so it is. Amen. All right, we're just going to touch quickly on a couple of the announcements. This Saturday coming up is, again, Agape. We mentioned that. That's the team that takes care of all of these beautiful 10 acres. It's lovely to have 10 acres. It's Florida. Stuff grows like crazy here. And we've had some storms and things. So there's a lot to do. So if you are inclined to come and do some work with the Agape team, they will greatly appreciate that. If you can't come, you can contribute directly to the Agape team. There are things that they need. Yes? Oh, I'm sorry. Saturday at 9 a.m. It's 9 to noon here on the campus. Yeah. So please remember that. And next Sunday, Crystal is back, and she will be in the doing a new member ceremony. So the folks that just finished the new members class will be officially welcomed into the congregation. Are you doing rehearsals Tuesday and Thursday?
Thursday.
Just Thursday. Okay. So Thursday there is the first rehearsal for all of us performers for the pageant. If you haven't signed up yet, please come. There's plenty of room. If you don't want to be up here being a ham making a fool of yourself, I understand. But we need support. So there's music and tech and lights and costumes and all of that stuff, right? 6 o'clock Thursday evening in the chapel. Yes. In the chapel. Okay, so don't forget that. Thanksgiving dinner is coming up, and we're going to get an announcement about that in just a second. And the Yoga Crystal Bowl classes will be the second Sunday in November and December. So we want to get an update on our Thanksgiving process. We are going to be having Thanksgiving here on campus at 1. There's a sign-up list in the foyer. We need you to sign up.
That's what I was going to ask for.
Okay.
I was going to
Ask! Yes.
I am asking all of you to volunteer if you have time, and asking for you to join us for Thanksgiving. A meal will be provided, but we still like you here. We'll be eating at 1. I suggest you come early because we may have some little games to play before we eat, and we're looking for fellowship, and that's what we're hoping to give this Thanksgiving. There is a sign-up sheet, so let me know as soon as possible so I can count heads and we can serve meals. Thank you.
So we're working out the details with Publix about how much they're going to support us and how much we need. So we need to be clear so we have enough turkeys. You don't want to get here and not get your turkey leg, right? We're not taking food. As such, with COVID restrictions, we're still needing to be respectful and careful. So covered dishes we cannot accept at this time. So we're buying food. So that there's a little bit more controls and safety and, all that stuff that we got to be responsible for. So we're going to do that. And then there is a Christmas Eve service. It's going to be at 5 p.m., so put that on your calendar. So I think that's all the announcements that we have. And so we're going to do this video. Thank you.
Shall live in light. God is light. We are light. We shall live in light. God is light. We are light. Whoa, hey, yeah. Hey, yeah. Hey, yeah. shall live in love. shall live in light. God is light. We are light. We shall live in light. God is light. We are light. Whoa, hey, yeah. Hey, yeah. Hey, yeah. Whoa, hey, yeah. Hey, yeah. Hey, yeah. Whoa, hey, yeah. Hey, yeah. Hey, yeah. Whoa, hey, yeah. Hey, yeah. Hey, yeah.
Let us welcome the children into our sanctuary.
You are walking in the light, in the light, in the light. You are walking in the light, in the light of God. In the light, 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 in the light of God. You are walking in the light, in the light, in the light. You are walking in the light of God.
Thank you. I'm Sean Holliday, director of the children's ministry here, and I've been working 3 years on my costume. So, Wild Bill Hickok, it'll be finally complete. So we started out, we were going to do some drawings of Jesus and the Lamb, and then they saw the pumpkins, and all Halloween broke loose. So, as you can see, we had plenty of artworks and supplies. You want us to tell us about, you want to tell about your favorite movie, Ashlyn?
The Night Before Christmas.
Was it another movie? Twas the night before
Christmas?
All right. I thought it was another one with Jack-o'-lantern and the bride, right? No. Okay. So we did some gardening out there as well, and we have a beautiful campus. As you heard, we're having our family production, our Christmas pageant here in December 17th. Our first rehearsal is this Thursday at 6. So all are welcome, even if you didn't come to our audition. Show up, and we'll make you a star. All right, and we also have some plants going out there. We have some tomato plants going and other wildflowers, so stop by the children's room and come check us out and get some native plants, and you get your winter garden going. Thank you.
I invite you to warm up your hands and join together in blessing the children with the children blessing affirmation. You are loved, special, and important. We behold and bless the Christ you are. Thank you. Go ahead. Thank you for being here today. Your presence is a blessing. A CD of today's message can be purchased now. Okay. Remember, the prayer chaplain is here to pray. The prayer chaplain is here in the prayer room to pray with you after the service. We wish you a wonderful Sunday and a blessed week. We hope you will join us again next Sunday. Will you please join together and sing in the peace song? Please stand. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth,
begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
The prayer of God.
Surrounds us. I am that light. The love of God enfolds us. I am that love. The power of God protects us. I am that power. The presence of God watches over us. I am that presence. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well.
Please join in the closing affirmation. Strong in faith, steadfast in love, we are ready to receive our good. Thank you.